My gaze had fallen on Aisha's radiant form, and my heart began to waver. A longing welled up within me, to reach out, to claim her, to let her beauty become part of me. Yet, I knew I had to tell her that what she had done was far from right. It was that knowledge that made me hold back. I approached her slowly, my steps soft and deliberate. Though I moved closer, I did not lift her veil. Perhaps Aisha had been waiting for me. When she heard the sound of my approaching footsteps, she raised her veil herself, meeting my eyes. For a moment I was mesmerized. Her luminous face was enough to make the world fade away. My heart ached to forget everything else and capture her lips with mine. But I steeled myself, turning away from temptation. I threw down the gift I had brought her, a mere token now stripped of affection, and headed for the bathroom. Under the steady flow of the shower, I stood for what felt like an eternity, trying to reason with myself. This was necessary, I kept telling myself. Without it, perhaps our future wouldn't hold together. When I finally emerged, towel wrapped around me, I found Aisha standing in the room, a troubled look on her face. The moment she saw me, she moved closer. Her eyes locked onto the water droplets dripping from my hair, her fingers gently clasping my arm. The faint perfume she wore, mingled with the warmth of her breath, stirred something deep inside me. "What's wrong?" she asked in a tender voice. "Why are you ignoring me? Are you still upset?" Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and I could hardly bear to see them. For a moment, I wanted nothing more than to reach out to soothe her pain. But then I wrenched my arm free. "Why should it matter to you, Aisha?" I said coldly. "You can do whatever you want. Just don't expect anything from me." I turned away, opening the wardrobe to pull out clothes, doing my best to ignore her presence. But she wouldn't let it go. She came closer, and before I knew it, her arms encircled my damp frame. A shiver ran through me, a spark like an electric current. I felt an intense heat, as if a volcano had erupted within me. Sweat beaded on my skin as I turned around to face her, my heart faltering once more. Her glowing face, her smooth forehead, her large dark eyes, and her full lips. It was as if beauty itself had stopped at her and refused to go any further. Her innocent expression only fanned the flames of my emotions. Gently I stepped back, putting a small distance between us. "Your clothes will get ruined," I said softly. "Go and change. Get some rest. Don't pin your hopes on me. I can't fulfill any of your wishes." The words felt like shards of glass on my tongue, spoken with great difficulty. Only my heart knew the storm raging inside. She was my first and only love. Now, standing before me as my wife, she was begging me not to look away from her. It was anything but easy. With great effort, I averted my eyes, determined to hold firm. But at my words, she broke down, crying openly. "Don't be so cruel," she sobbed. "I know I've made mistakes. I've gone against you many times, but now I'm your wife. I've come here as your bride. Please, just for tonight, don't make me suffer like this." Suddenly, she folded her hands before me in supplication. The resolve I had tried so hard to muster wavered. I let the clothes I had taken from the wardrobe fall from my grasp and took her joined hands in mine. My heart betrayed me. Slowly, I led her to the bed and sat down in front of her. She began to trace her fingers across my chest, her gaze fixed on me. I tried one last time to reason with her. "Aisha," I said gently, "how many times have I told you?" But I could see the pleading in her eyes, the silent hope that I would give in, that I would stop trying to resist what we both felt. I couldn't bear the thought of someone else coming between Aisha and me. Time and again, she allowed that person to intrude into our relationship, no matter how often I tried to make her understand. My frustration finally boiled over, and I grabbed her by the arms, shaking her slightly. "Don't you see?" I said, my voice low but intense. "That person will destroy us. Why can't you understand?" For a moment, she seemed lost in her own thoughts, but my sudden movement startled her. She looked at me with a mix of surprise and something else, something that made my anger waver for a fleeting moment. Then, without warning, she leaned in and pressed her lips gently to my neck. Whatever distance there had been between us melted away in that instant. I swallowed hard, a lump forming in my throat. Struggling to regain control over my emotions, I said softly, "Aisha, are you listening to me?" My intention had been to continue explaining, to make her see reason, but Aisha was no longer in a state to hear me. She was adrift on a tide of her own emotions. Slowly, she traced her finger from my lips down to my neck, and then to my chest. I closed my eyes tightly, drawing in a deep breath, and allowed myself to let go. In that moment, the boundaries blurred, and I found myself giving in to her, letting her take the lead. It felt like a historic first, a wedding night where the wife, rather than the husband, initiated everything. Meanwhile, a different scenario unfolded in the university cafeteria. I stepped inside, scanning the room for Aisha, who hadn't been in sight for quite some time. My gut told me something was wrong. Aisha never wandered around campus without me. So where had she gone? The unease gnawed at me, and the moment I saw Ramiz, I hurried over. He always seemed to know everything that went on around here. "Where's Aisha?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. But Ramiz's response sent a wave of anger coursing through me. He smirked and said casually, "Where else would she be? She's with Samir at the back of the university." My heart skipped a beat, and a surge of heat flared in my chest. I knew exactly what he meant by the back of the university, the secluded area where students often sought privacy. It was well known, and not for wholesome reasons. My fists clenched at the thought. Samir had never sat well with me. No matter how many times I'd told Aisha to stay away from him, she always found herself drawn to him. And now, of all places, she was back there with him. I left the cafeteria without another word, my pace quickening as I made my way toward the rear of the campus. That part of the university was notorious, a small garden lined with tall, dense shrubs and a few hidden benches where students would linger. It was a spot that allowed for solitude, but everyone knew it also had a reputation. The very idea of Aisha being there filled me with dread. She was not just my love, she was my honor, my dignity. I couldn't allow her reputation or our relationship to be tarnished by the mere implication of impropriety. My steps grew faster as I entered the garden, my eyes darting around for any sign of her. And then I saw them. Aisha and Samir, sitting together on a bench. Her hand rested lightly in his, and for a moment I couldn't. University's group chat. It was a group shared by a large number of students, a place where updates about the university were often posted. I hesitated for a moment before opening the group. The moment I did, my stomach dropped. There they were, photos of Aisha, scattered across the group chat. I didn't recognize the number that had shared them. These weren't just any photos. They were personal, everyday pictures. Aisha without a dupatta, sitting on the stairs or lying on her bed. Images she had casually taken and sent to me in the past. She'd always had a habit of snapping such photos and sending them my way, despite my repeated warnings. I told her many times not to keep those pictures on her phone and certainly not to take them in the first place. But she had brushed off my concerns, thinking it wasn't a big deal. Now those private moments were out in the open, exposed to everyone in the group. The comments flooding in under the photos made my blood boil. People commented on her clothes, her figure. Some remarks were so crude that I could feel my ears burning. They were laughing at her, mocking her, and by extension me. My pride, my honor, couldn't tolerate it. Furious, I dialed Aisha's number. She answered immediately, her voice choked with tears. "Mumtaz," she sobbed. "It's Samir. He did this. He took my phone. I don't know how he knew the password, but he took all my photos, sent them to himself, and started sharing them in the group from a new number. I don't know where else he's sent them." She was crying uncontrollably, panicking. But instead of feeling sympathy, my anger only grew. "Didn't I tell you not to act like a heroine all the time?" Snap. "If I had been in your place, I would have dealt with him directly. I would have gone to the principal's office and reported him. But no, you had to handle it all on your own, and look where that's gotten you." Aisha's crying intensified, but I couldn't bring myself to comfort her. Her choices, her unwillingness to listen to my warnings, had led us here. It was a mess I didn't know how to untangle, and at that moment, I couldn't see a way forward. Now that the photos were already in the university group chat, I realized lodging a complaint with the principal wouldn't accomplish much. We had no solid proof that Samir had taken Aisha's phone. He would simply deny it. The number from which the images had been shared was untraceable, and hundreds of students had already seen them. Half the university had caught a glimpse of those private, domestic photos. Pictures of Aisha sitting on stairs, lying in bed without her dupatta, images she had casually sent to me before. She had never seen the harm in it, despite my warnings, and now those personal moments were public. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall in frustration. "Well, sit there and keep crying," I muttered. Aisha's trembling voice interrupted my thoughts. "Please come back to the university," she begged. "I'm so worried. If my family finds out, it'll be a disaster. You know how conservative they are. They'll make me quit my studies. Everything will be ruined." Her voice cracked with desperation, and despite my anger, I couldn't ignore her distress. She was my love, my honor, and the fact that her images had been spread around like this felt like a slap to my pride. For a moment, I considered what to do next. Finally, I grabbed my motorcycle keys again and stormed out of the house. My mother called after me, her voice tinged with concern, but I was already gone. Revving the bike's engine, I sped off toward the university. My mind raced as I navigated through the streets. By the time I reached campus, everyone's eyes were on me. Whispers and knowing glances followed me through the corridors. It wasn't hard to see why. Most of them knew Aisha and I were close friends, practically inseparable. Now I was the guy everyone had something to say about. Before I could reach Aisha, a group of guys blocked my path. "Hey man," one of them called out with a grin. "Your friend Aisha, huh? She's something else. Always wears that big shawl, never shows anything. But those pictures, man, what a surprise. Didn't know she was that hot." Another added with a smirk. "Have you gotten physical with her yet?" Their vulgar remarks sent a surge of anger through me. Without thinking, I grabbed one of them and hit him hard. The others pulled me back as a crowd began to gather. Zubair, a mutual friend, stepped in and separated us. "Stop it," he said firmly. "You'll just make it worse. More drama will only stain her reputation further. People will forget this eventually, but if you keep this up, it'll never end." Zubair's words hit home. He was right. Escalating the situation wouldn't help Aisha. She needed someone to calm the storm, not add fuel to it. I took a deep breath and headed straight for the back corner of the campus, where Aisha had been sitting. I found her there, hunched over, sobbing uncontrollably. Natasha, a close friend of ours, was beside her, trying in vain to comfort her. The moment Aisha saw me, she threw her arms around me, clinging to me as she cried. "Do something," she pleaded. "Please fix this." I took a deep breath and gently pulled her away. "How can I fix it now?" I said, exasperated. "Those pictures could be on anyone's phone by now. The best I can do is talk to the administration and have them removed from the group. Don't worry, I'll figure something out." My initial intention had been to scold Aisha for her carelessness, but seeing her in such a broken state made me hold back. I had to focus on solving the problem first. Together, we went to a senior professor we trusted and explained everything. We had no evidence against Samir, but we hoped that at least the photos could be deleted from the group. The professor agreed to help and contacted the group's administrator. The images were removed, and the number used to post them was blocked. However, we still couldn't prove who was behind it. We strongly suspected Samir, but we had no way to confirm it. Afterward, I turned to Aisha and warned her. "Stay away from him from now on. And for God's sake, stop keeping those pictures on your phone." Aisha nodded, clearly shaken by the ordeal. From that point on, she kept her distance from Samir and was far more cautious. Still, the damage had been done. The gossip in the university didn't fade away quickly. Everywhere we went, there were whispers, smirks, and cutting remarks. Aisha barely lifted her eyes from the ground anymore. She avoided meeting anyone's gaze, her confidence shattered. Despite the ongoing chatter, we managed to get through our final year. By the time we graduated, the scandal had mostly died down, though it left a mark on both of us. After finishing our studies, I found myself struggling to secure a job. Nothing came easy, but I kept at it, determined to move on from the tumultuous events that had marked our last year in university. While Aisha's family was busy searching for a marriage proposal for her, I couldn't sit idle. As soon as I secured my job, I formally sent a proposal to her family. My mother carried our proposal to Aisha's home, and soon the engagement was finalized. The two of us were set to be married, and I thought everything would finally fall into place. But then one thoughtless mistake on Aisha's part unraveled everything. After finishing work one day, I arrived home. My mother brought me a cup,